AI, when combined with 3D environments, with metaverses, social networking, um, with
Yeah.
blockchain,
Mm-hmm.
the- it's like the world's largest Tinker toy.
Yeah. I think people have a hard time, and myself included. I'm no by no means an expert, but I've definitely been paying attention to it. I kind of grasp some of the concepts, and with making content online, automation and taking the workload off yourself is huge, and being able to do more, be more creative. That's kind of how I see. That's the value I'm looking for in AI for myself. Is how does it free me up to be more creative,
Yes.
or do the things that I really want to be focusing on. Kind of like in a Star Trek model. Like Star Trek is the era after the automation and the systems have kind of done most of the work for us. Everyday jobs don't matter anymore, and you can focus on being the best human being. And that gap between now and then, I don't think most people are even thinking about, and so it's scary. And so the one thing that I hope to do here on the podcast is like not make this stuff magic. So if there's a topic that's starting to sound like magic, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the engineering, the science, and make it
Mm-hmm.
something that you can understand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that's so important in, so many things. And I think a lot of people's reticence towards science can be traced to them thinking it's magic.
Yeah.
They hear, some story comes out about a planet which isn't horrible, an
Yeah.
exoplanet, which might have a few things going for it as far as,
Mm-hmm.
life is concerned. And then that gets reprinted into, um, popular newspaper articles saying
Mm-hmm.
habitable planet found 40 light years away, and
Mm-hmm.
then when someone comes along and says, hey, look, habitable is relative here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think what can happen, and that life really isn't, you know there's not, big flying saucers coming from there. Hate to break it to you
Right.
guys.
Right.
Then people, like many people, too many people think, oh wow, this is science changing its mind,
Mm.
which is and can be one of the most powerful aspects of science.
Yeah.
But but when what is being said is misunderstood, it
Mm.
can be perceived by a lot of people as seeming like magic.
Yeah.
And then when it's disproven, then far too many people see scientists as charlatans.
Right.
And I think that's a real danger right there.
Absolutely, and I think that's part of what I'll speak for myself, but I'm going to guess for yourself as well. Is
Mm.
being a person that will actually communicate that and break it down, because not to any scientist's fault that I could definitely see people were doing science and engineering, and then there were other people that were communicating it. They probably weren't for a long time scientifically minded folks or people that cared about the nuance of using one word or the other. So it's a situation we find ourselves in that's accelerating quickly because of how fast stuff moves on the internet, and
Mm.
if we don't pick up that mantle, no one's gonna do it. It's just gonna keep filtering into clickbait articles and stuff like that, and we'll lose the actual information.
Right, right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So you see AI as a way to combat that type of thing? Because I think a lot of folks might look at that and think, oh, it's going to be more of the same.
I think it's probably a two-edged sword. I
Mm,
mean, yeah, I think it could be used responsibly or irresponsibly.
I love that.
If you're, I'm sure there'll be plenty of media organizations, firing their $15 an hour, you know, writers in order to
Right.
have everything written by AI.
Yeah.
But it can also be used in by writers to, like you said, to become more creative
Mm,
and to be used within larger projects. like, all right, like right now, I'm working on the episode of the show of the Cosmic Companion, which talks about what space habitations may look like in the future when we've been comfortably there for a while. There
Mm,
are plants on the tables. There
right.
are pictures hanging on the wall. There's a
Mm,
cat licking itself in the fireplace, you know?
yeah.
And, and even within that, um, I have, like someone talking on a video conversation. That video call
Mm,
was simulated by having one AI create a character looking like she was on a video call,
mm.
feeding that into a different AI that animated it a little bit,
Wow.
that I then imported into Second Life, which is a 3D environment
Cool.
creator,
That's awesome.
and formed that into the video screen of a of
Wow.
a terminal within this virtual spaceship, and created a video of that and then placed myself into it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I mean, so AI can definitely be used
Mm.
beyond what it initially puts out. And I think that's the real power of it.